training his upper body the way he wanted to. Maybe that's why it looks a little bit flatter. We'll see.
And Kai Greene on his way onto the stage right now here at Mr. Olympia 2014. He is widely considered to be the #2 at this competition, although if you ask him, and we're tuning into that press conference yesterday, he is #1. He does not seem at all content with the idea of being #2, was hammering Phil Heath, cutting him off at the press conference, and just desperately seemed to want to win this competition. What do you think, Larry, as you're seeing him on stage for the first time?
He looks good. I would like to see him progress through the back poses because that's always a good indication of where Kai is at conditioning-wise. Kai made a comment at the press conference that he was going to have Phil by 40 pounds, which suggested to me that maybe he and his coach decided to try to come in this contest bigger rather than just all-out conditioning. I don't see quite the level of conditioning that we've become accustomed to from Kai. If you look at his chest when he hits his chest shots and you look at his midsection, he doesn't look as ripped as we've seen him in the past. Not the same, quite the same level of detail. And I wonder if they've tried to come in a little too big and lost some of that trademark definition. When he's been successful, it's been with crazy hardness. Now the proof will be in the pudding when our next athlete comes out, because that will be Phil Heath, our final athlete in the men's.
Pay you the big bucks for that one?
Nope. The big bucks are for those predictions you keep saying I get right.
You do keep nailing it. And I'm keeping
trying.
notes too, so
I'm
that
trying.
when you screw up, I can let you know there too.
Oh, listen, people will let me know online.
Are they? Oh, that's sweet.
They'll let me know when I make any mistake on Twitter or something like that. Okay.
Gentlemen, quarter turn to the right.
What are you seeing?
I'm seeing Phil
Quarter
Heath
turn to the right.
in his 4th Olympia, but we'll see as they go through it.
Quarter turn to the right. Face front. Gentlemen, front double bicep. Front lat spread. Side chest.
Phil looks very slow to move from pose to pose, which can sometimes be a sign that an athlete is cramping. But you see
Back double
his
bicep.
conditioning. Kai looks very good from the side. He always does. And you can see how enormous Big Ramey looks, but the lower body detail
Back lat spread.
is just nowhere near the level of a Phil Heath and a Kai Greene.
Spread out,
and
gentlemen.
That obviously creates an issue.
Did you hear them telling them to spread out there because Phil and Kai are pushing at each other a bit every time those arms go up? They're jockeying for position to see whose arm gets in front of whose.
Side tricep.
Well, I did have a side bet with my buddy Isaac Hines that there could be some physicality between these two. Kai's hair just hit Phil. So does that count? Do I win? I think I win.
I think so, yeah.
That counts as physicality. So Isaac, pay up. And you see that's
abdominals and thighs.
That's a that side tricep is a dominant pose for Phil.
Let's go, guys.
I get so busy. I get so busy on the mic.
Your favorite, most muscular.
I get so busy. What to do? Tim up 1, Tim up 2. I can't see a thing like Mr.
You see the roundness in the muscle from the shoulder to
Spread
the
out, gentlemen.
chest.
Hey,
Oh,
oh,
here we go.
spread out. Spread out.
Who wants to break up that fight?
Kai and Dennis switch. Kai and Dennis switch.
Where is John Jones when you need him? Because I'm guessing Floyd Mayweather's not getting between those two.
Probably.
Gentlemen, spread out.
I don't know if I've ever heard it this intense before. I mean, that's
Well, I've never heard judges yelling at the athletes like this, and for good reason. The last thing they want is some kind of physical altercation on stage. It's not good for the sport, and it's not good for the contest. So they don't want that, and that's why they moved Kai over. But believe me, when the
called it.
Competitor 16, Kai Greene.
Wow.
17, Phil Heath.
Nailed it, Larry.
Thank you, sir. That's why the big bucks come. But this is where, these are the three that should be out there, undoubtedly, after watching
Gentlemen,
them
front
go
double
through
bicep.
initially.
Side by side, what are you thinking that pose?
Front
there?
lat spread.
I think Phil wins that pose. He wins the front double bicep.
Side chest. Back double bicep.
Oh boy. This is how it started last time.
Back lat spread.
The back double bicep is an excellent shot for Kai. You see a lot of width and detail.
Side tricep.
Phil's very dominant in the arm department, so expect him to win this pose rather easily.
Abdominals and thighs. Favorite most muscular? Thank you, gentlemen. Back in line. Competitor 2, Victor Martinez. 7, Dexter Jackson. Kai Greene,
Oh, here you go. Look at this.
Sean
Dennis
Roden, and
Wolf.
Phil Heath.
And there you go. So, as we talked about earlier, Dennis won that call out and has now been, for lack of a better word, graduated to compete against what was previously the top 3, now the top 4.
Okay, gentlemen, front double bicep.
Tell me what you're seeing here.
Front lat spread.
One thing that jumps out to me is how much more vascular Kai Greene's legs got, which again,
Side chest.
I want to sound like a broken record, but that means he came out holding a lot of fluid. And as he's drying out, posing, he's getting harder, which I think is what we're seeing with Kai. I think Kai looks much better now than when he first walked out.
Absolutely.
Back lat spread. Side tricep.
Hopefully the judges won't be afraid to put Phil and Kai next to one another, because that's really what needs to happen. It's hard to compare them on opposite sides of the stage. Dennis, to me,
Abdominals and thighs.
again, very conditioned, excellent condition, but flat. And I think that will keep him behind Kai and in a battle with Roden. He is more conditioned than Sean, and Sean is a little bit rounder and fuller, you know, for his physique. So that's a close one to call.
If you're just tuning in, you're wondering what Larry was referencing there about the judges being afraid to put Kai next to Phil. It's because earlier they were actually screaming at them on the microphone because there was almost a physical altercation on stage. And going back to just yesterday at the press conference, same sort of thing. It is a heated battle between these two.
Thank you, gentlemen. Bob, back to you.
No more.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Kai Greene.
My name is Kai Leslie Greene, and my most memorable Olympia experience, this is while I was still a teenager, residing in an institutional living facility. What I saw was the film Pumping Iron, and the images inspired me to think and see my life very, very differently. It has now been more than a 20-year journey since then, and it is an honor to be here and a testament to the thought that a man truly can become what he thinks about and what he dreams to be. My name is Kai L. Greene, and I am Olympia.
Here comes the Predator, Kai Greene.
Let me see it. Make every minute worth it, baby. This for Ursula, baby. I done been around the world, I done kissed a lot of girls, so I'm guessing that it's true. Make me holler and I bet $1 million. Don't nobody kiss it like you. Don't nobody kiss it like you. Don't nobody kiss it like you. Bang, bang, bang. Don't nobody kiss it like you. Don't nobody kiss it like you. It's 5 in the morning, cause she's rolling while she making steak and eggs. Yeah. At 5 in the morning, we can only be about to do one thing. What?
was me. Just saying that's okay. Hey baby, do as you please. I have the stuff that you want. I am the thing that you need. She looked me deep in the eyes. She touching me so to start. She says there's no turning back. She got me.
Give it up for the Predator, Kai Greene.
Dennis Wolf, Sean Roden, Phil Heath, and Kai Greene. Dennis and Phil, switch, please. Gentlemen, spread out. Okay, quarter turn to the right. Quarter turn to the right. Quarter turn to the right. Face front. Gentlemen, front double bicep. Front lat spread. Side chest. Back double bicep. Back lat spread. Side tricep. Abdominals and thighs. Your favorite, most muscular. Let's go, guys. Thank you, gentlemen. Back in line. Victor Martinez, Branch Warren, Dexter Jackson.
I feel like we're comparing two very different physiques. It's one of the reasons that they've competed 6 times, and Dennis Wolf has 4 wins and Sean Roden has 2. They have gone back and forth. You take that Arnold Classic that was close for a lot of people, and they'd be 3-3 if it went the other way.
Front double bicep.
And here you have it once again. The two front runners side by side. I'm sure a little bit too close side by side if you ask the judges, considering they've
Side
been
chest.
continually asking them to separate. Again, the intensity between these two is very real.
Back double bicep.
Oh boy, here we go.
You have to wonder if there's any jawing going back and forth as they're facing away from us.
Olympia fans, who's it gonna be?
Side tricep. Most muscular. Thank you, gentlemen. Back in line.
What did you think there, Larry?
Very difficult for me to go against Phil Heath. When I look at the comparisons, I think he is rounder, fuller.
Thank you, Steve.
I think
How about a big
he's
hand
a
for
bit
all
more
17
conditioned
of our
in terms of the
Olympians.
consistency of the physique overall. Kai looks great. I think it's closer than it was last night, but I still have.
So what you're seeing right now, ladies and gentlemen, is your top 10 for Mr. Olympia. One of the individuals on the stage, minus Phil Heath, who's coming out right now, will be Mr. Olympia 2014. Here at the 50th annual event of this competition.
All right, our top 10 Olympians in place. Let's send it back down to the head judging table. Big Steve.
Thank you, Bob. Phil and Steve switch, please. Juan and Dexter switch, please. Juan and Kai switch. Juan and Kai. Dennis and Rami switch, please.
So the judges moving our competitors around now
Spread out, please.
so they can see them next to
Quarter turn to the right.
the athletes they may be being compared to 1 or 2 spots away.
And Larry, we've
Quarter
seen
turn to the right.
call-outs, and we knew who were likely going to be in our top 8, but we're seeing a full top 10 here. Any surprises for who's in this group at the top 10?
I don't
Quarter
think
turn to
anything
the right.
shocking. You know, I think it's good news for Steve Kuklu, and it is fantastic news for Juan Morel, who in his Olympia debut,
Face front.
we talked about him being in great shape. One of the only guys who really nailed it right from the beginning of the prejudging, and he finds himself in the top 10 at the Olympia. Can't wipe that smile off his face. Two
Gentlemen, spread out,
two
please.
athletes in from the left on your screen.
Everyone's got to take a step. It's a big stage. Let's go.
The biggest surprise to me here, to be perfectly honest, is that Dennis Wolf hasn't been positioned next to Sean Roden. It's pretty clear that they're battling for 3-4. So to have Phil and Kai in between them is a little surprising to me.
Thank you, Rope. Gentlemen, front double bicep.
As we talked about earlier, Branch Warren really making an impression this year, showing up in phenomenal shape, and you see him there in the top 10.
Front lat spread.
There's your two favorites, Kai Greene on the left and Phil Heath on the right.
Side chest.
I think the gap has narrowed between them from last night. I think Kai's legs look better front to back as well as his back. His torso, to me, still is not popping out as much as we would like it to. It looks kind of flat.
Back double bicep.
But definitely the gap between Heath and Greene closer than it was last night for me.
There's no steps over there, are there? No, there's no steps over there.
Back lat spread.
When they came on earlier, Dave, we talked about who
Side
benefited more
tricep.
from this 24 hours between last night and tonight. And clearly, Kai Greene has benefited more from the time. I don't think it's enough to catch Heath, but the gap between them has closed significantly, and I think it's because Kai looks to be
Abdominal
peaking
and thighs.
tonight, not at the prejudging.
Well, you made a point that Phil Heath looked to be peaking even early on in the prejudging last night and then faded a bit as the prejudging went on. And then Kai, on the other hand, was getting stronger as the prejudging.
And then we never got that final comparison, side by side.
Right. And a lot of that had to do with, again, the fact that they almost got into a physical altercation on stage last night at the prejudging. Heated words exchanged. The judges were screaming at them on the microphone to separate. And then they actually
Gentlemen,
did
if you're
separate them
ready,
because it was so
pose down.
So you'll see a pose down here. This, again, is these guys having some fun. Judges have gathered the information that they want. Are you surprised that you didn't see more shifting up there, or do you think that the judges already had a pretty clear idea of what they were thinking as far as the top 10 went, obviously, who they called out, but then, who those top 3 and 4 were going to be?
I think they had a pretty clear idea.
Why you all in my ear talking a whole bunch of this shit I ain't trying to hear? Get back, motherfucker, you don't know me like that. Get back, motherfucker, you don't know me like that. I ain't playing around. Make one false move, I take you down. Get back, motherfucker, you don't know me like that. Get back, motherfucker, you don't know me like that. So come on, don't get swung on. It's the knick-knack, paddywhack, still riding Cadillacs. Family off the street, made my homies put the baggies back. Still stacking plaques, still action-packed. And dope, I keep it flipping like acrobats. That's why I pack a Mac, that'll crack a back. Cause on my waist is more heat than the Shack Attack. But I ain't speaking about ballin', just thinking about brawling till y'all start ballin'. We all in together now, birds of a feather now. Just bought a plane, so we changing the weather now. So put your brakes on, caps, put your capes on, and knock off your block, get dropped and have your face flown. Cause I'll prove it, scratch off the music like, hey, little stupid, don't make me lose it. Why you all in my ear talking a whole bunch of this shit I ain't trying to hear? Get back, motherfucker, you don't know me like that. Get back, motherfucker, you don't know me like that. I ain't playing around, make one false move, I take you down. Get back, motherfucker, you don't know me like that. Get back, motherfucker, you don't know me like that. I came, I saw, I hit him right dead in the jaw. I came, I saw, I hit him right dead in the jaw. I came, I saw, I hit him right dead in the jaw. I came, I saw, I hit him right dead in the jaw. See, I caught him with a right hook, caught him with a jab, caught him with an uppercut, kicked him in the head, sent him on his way cause I ain't for that talk. Ain't no trips to the county, I ain't for that walk. We split like two pins at the end of a lane. We'll knock out your spotlight and put an end to your veins. Put a DTP pendant at the end of your chain and put the booty of a switch at the end of a plane. Why you all in my ear talking a whole bunch of this shit I ain't trying to hear? Get back, motherfucker, you don't know me like that. Get back, motherfucker, you don't know me like that. I ain't playing around, make one false move, I take you down. Get back, motherfucker, you don't know me like that. Get back, motherfucker, you don't know enjoy my jack. Sit back and watch the women get drunk as hell, so I can wake up in the morning with a story to tell. I know it's been a little while since I've been out the house, but now I'm here, you wanna stand around running your mouth? I can't hear nothing you saying or spitting, so what's up? Don't you see we in the club, man? Shut the fuck up. Geek, geek, whoop, whoop. Why you all in my ear? Talking a whole bunch of this shit I ain't trying to hear. Get back, motherfucker, you don't know me like that. Get back, motherfucker, you don't know me like that. Geek, geek, whoop, whoop. I ain't playing around. Make one false move, I take you down. Get back, motherfucker, you don't know me like that. Get back, motherfucker, you don't know me like that. We in the red light district. We in the red light district. We in the red light district. We in the red light
Don't do it. We're gonna stand by.
Check your shirt off, twist it around your head, spin it like a helicopter. North Carolina, raise up. This one's for you. This one's for who? Us. Yes, sir. North Carolina, raise up. Check your shirt off, twist it around your head, spin it like a helicopter. North Carolina, raise up. This one's for you. This one's for who? Us. Yes, sir. Who am I? Petey Pub, motherfucker. I first put it down for North Carolina, but guess what? It's been worth it. I'm a superstar. Bought me a big old car, 4.6 in the car. Black with the balls on the front and back, and got a button in the middle, make the truck go. But it ain't about that. It's about getting what you're getting and giving on back here. Big fellas, half of me in Carolina, I'm trying to go. Hope, Blaine, Marshall, Hope, Greene County, Tillery, damn, transfer, Santa Red, Brown over here, Green over here, Pasadena, down on, East, everything. Johnson County, Franklin, Burgall, Newport, Warren, Shelby, Kingsville, Mankind, Triangle, Goldboro, Halifax, Stateville, and all my doing night behind the wall. This right here is for North Carolina. Raise up, check your shirt off, twist it around your head like a helicopter. North Carolina, raise up. This one's for you. This one's for who? Us. Yes, sir. North Carolina, raise up, check your shirt off, twist it around your head like a helicopter. North Carolina, raise up. This one's for you. This one's for who? Us. You remember them days, y'all? We used to play, y'all, the radio and put our own partner song, y'all. We used to rap our city, running through the school hall just before our basketball pet rally jumped on. My house, my home, my hood, my brother, my sister, my cousin. My they were there from the beginning, been with me before he even knew what being with me was. Y'all just glance at it, never got y'all staring at it, but it's been the same old North Carolina's been. Y'all just getting it, oh, it's a shame, isn't it? Oh, you thought we said we were coming with a whole lot of something, we were bullshit. North Carolina, raise up, check your shirt off, twist it around your head, spin it like a helicopter. North Carolina, raise up. This one's for you. This one's for who? Us. Yes, sir. North Carolina, raise up, check your shirt off, twist it around your head, spin it like a helicopter. North Carolina, raise up. This one's for you. This one's for who? Us. Yes, man, I had to do it just in case you were one of the ones that wanted to come and ask something stupid. What you think you're doing? What it look like putting it down for my on the south side, North Carolina, South Carolina, and I'm a little bit of overlook Cape Town. We gonna hit y'all ass. This ain't nothing but a TD blast that we got coming at ya. Slamming, classic over this. What's after platinum? Baby, you'll walk the ball. And I don't mean to scare y'all, but I'm about to bring it home. Blow these belly, heal these things that NC out in the wild up. How's the feeling? Look at my daddy grill. Tell him I told ya. North Carolina, raise up, check your shirt off, twist it around your head, spin it like a helicopter. North Carolina, raise up. This one's for you. This one's for who? Us. Yes, sir. North Carolina, raise up, check your shirt off, twist it around your head, spin it like a helicopter. North Carolina, raise up. This one's for you. This one's for who?
All right, let's have our Olympians on the stage.
Raise up, check your shirt off, twist it around your head, spin it like a helicopter. North Carolina, raise up. This one's for you. This one's for who? Us. Yes, sir.
Are we missing any bodybuilders? Any of them find their way to the concession stand? How about that for a pose down, folks? Is that enough for you? I think Phil Heath says he wants a little bit more. What do you say, Olympia fans?
Keep it pumping, keep it girl and jumping. Make you get right hard. See your body from afar just like a night hawk. My girl, if you're in the car, I got that good love for you. That's how I'm tell you from the first time I see you. Run with the boy, them will just not give you it right. Come and know, so you're sitting well tight. And you know, so me just not fed it. All night long, me already and said it. I'll be the man that giving it to you all night. Y'all know, but I give me the fight. Mommy over there, but she off the chain, her ass gorgeous, lips insane, hips like boom and her ass like bang. One time for them boys on the block up, pushing that ding and that gang. You know that D, that rock, that cane. Oh yeah, man. Now she moving like she can't stop. She can be from Thailand, the way that she Bangkok. I'm telling you, mommy doing the thing. She throwing it back like a boomerang. I wanna look up below her belly ring like a better ring, bada bing, her, bada boom. Her. Now dim the lights down in the room while I slide in you like ooh, can you feel it?
A hand for our top 10 Olympia. Thank you, gentlemen. You may exit the stage, guys. Catch your breath for a few. If I can have Kai Greene and Phil Heath in the center, please.
And then there were two. Final comparison here for the judges.
Both presenters will be on stage. Runner-up will receive a check for $130,000, the Olympia silver medal. The next name you hear will be your 2014 Mr. Olympia.
There you go. Crowd roars.
Presenting the first place award. That is being held by Jim Mannion, and it is a special edition 18-karat gold Sandow statue. The Ben Weider Standard of Excellence Award will be presented by Mr. Rafael Santoja. They will take those awards, a check for $275,000. They will take all that and the title of 2014 Mr. Olympia. And we'll find out who that winner is right after these messages. Hang on a second. Robin says there are no messages. Well, in that case, your Mr. Olympia is four-time Mr. Olympia, Phil Heath.
Some nice sportsmanship there. Kai Greene looks disappointed, but shakes the hand of Phil Heath. Kai Greene once again getting runner-up, and Phil Heath, what a performance by him. Time and time again, we are impressed by the way that he looks, the type of shape that he shows up in, and once again did it this year despite having a lot of things going on in his life. He did it. Another Mr. Olympia, $275,000 going into his pocket tonight. Just a great performance by him. We'll be talking to him on our post show along with all of the other winners here tonight.
And Phil mentioned at the press conference that he dedicated this Mr. Olympia to his father, who died earlier this year. So I'm sure a very emotional win for Phil Heath as he gets his fourth Sandow in a row.
Our post show is starting immediately. Bob is going to talk to Phil on stage briefly, and then he's going to join us backstage as we round things out for bodybuilding.com. Certainly appreciate you watching the broadcast. We've got much more to come, so hang in there.
Hang on, gentlemen. Don't go anywhere.